Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you. Indiana's peaceful communities and celebrated hospitality have inspired artists throughout history.
From nurturing traditional artisans to energizing the emerging talents of tomorrow. Meet an extraordinary young man whose musical mastery mesmerizes audiences. Discover the intricate craft of willow basket weaving where tradition is woven into art. Explore the hidden canyons and towering trees of Turkey Run State Park. And welcome Shaun Fleming, the celebrated singer and songwriter of the band Diane Coffee. Indiana inspiration is all around you.
So stay tuned for the stories you'll find only on the weekly special.
Hello, thanks for joining the weekly special. I'm Daryl Neer.
And I'm Erica Sagone.
Now, Erica, I love this time of year because there's so much going around the state, being outdoors, all of the activities around the towns and the communities.
Yeah, I mean, pick any weekend, any city in Indiana, and there's definitely a festival going on, and it's so fun to see the community that surrounds these fun events. And speaking of community, for one young man in Bloomington, the inspiration and encouragement he receives from his community isn't just transforming his life, it's transforming the lives of all who hear him.
He always showed he was touched when music was going on.
This was this series of Baby Einstein, and there was the Schumann scenes from childhood. It started, and he just turned around, went to the TV, and just touched the screen and listened to the whole thing. And I said, you know, this baby has a special connection with music.
Every summer, my parents and I go to Colorado to a Rocky Ridge music camp. There was one year I heard someone playing a piece by Dvorak on the violin. For some reason, I'm not sure why, I went outside with my mom after and I told her that I wanted to play the violin.
Well, she had a very important role in those beginnings. And of course, he loved what he was doing. But I think it's all because of her, you know, how encouraging she was. And she worked with him every day.
But when you see your child learning and getting better and enjoying the activity, then of course it's worth it.
I had my eye on Phillip right from the beginning. He had a really strong and beautiful concept of sound, which I was attracted to. So it was really a pleasure to watch him develop. And then at a certain point, as he started to become more advanced, to have the pleasure of working with him in my studio. With specific kids, you have to teach that part of music where you draw it out, you try to visualize what sort of character. For Phillip, he tends to come to the lessons already with a strong sense of what it is he's trying to project, which I think is unusual. So my job is really then to help make him really powerful as a performer, to refine the technical details so that he's able to speak in a stronger voice.
It's always good to look at the music for a very long time until you have the piece in your head. So practicing a lot definitely makes it a lot easier to have that in your head, to memorize like a tune that you can't stop singing in your head. Well, I usually remember all the advice and tricks and different techniques that Brenda tells me in a lesson. I have post-it notes and a notebook that I usually put the very specific details down so I don't forget them after a lesson, and I make sure to practice that specifically. Brenda makes sure to give me an in-depth understanding of what she wants me to fix and what she wants me to do in a piece so I can have that in my head clearly whenever I do a performance and when I practice.
For a child of 13 to be able to do this, it's a gift, but it's also a gift of making that commitment and solving those problems and really getting into the practice room and sweating every day.
Phillip put his talent to the test, performing the Kabalevsky Concerto for Indianapolis's New World Youth Orchestra Artist Competition.
When I heard my name, I was really happy and surprised, but I was, of course, nervous that I had to play with an orchestra in front of so many people.
The winner of the Young Artist competition has the honor to perform with the New World Youth Orchestra at the prestigious Hilbert Circle Theater.
In its first year, only had 18 musicians, and now in its 34th year, we have 220 across 3 orchestras. Over the years, as a conductor, you see lots of talent come in and come out. And the first rehearsal with Phillip, you could tell right away that this is who the winner was supposed to be. What I love about Phillip, he was just so unassuming with the whole thing. So he just came up and he just played like a professional, and he listened to the orchestra and he listened to me, and we tried to collaborate, which is what it should be. And he adjusted if need be, and we adjusted if need be. It's just been very easy to work with him.
Playing in this experience, it was really amazing for the first time to have a full orchestra playing behind you, to have so many different instruments supporting or going against what you played, and there's so much mixing in the sound and so much contrast at the same time. It's just so different than just playing with one other instrument. Just having this opportunity, I think it'll probably give me a lot more courage to play in maybe more of these competitions, or just have more courage within my playing itself. Walking off the stage and hearing all the applause, taking my bow, and finishing that last chord, it was a big relief after so many months of working the piece and so many rehearsals with the orchestra, the hours that I had to put into all that practice. It was definitely a big relief to walk out that stage and knew that I was finally done. But at the same time, I felt a lot of joy because it was a really fun experience, especially since it was such a new one to do as well.
Right after the performance, I hugged him, and of course I was very emotional. He just looked at me and he said, "Why are you crying?" I just had fun, you know.
You see a growth, and it's not a growth of technicality or musicality, it's a growth of confidence, it's a growth of vibrancy of sound or energy. That spark really shines through.
Sacrifice is worth every minute you spend helping your child, even though in the case that they don't become professional musicians. That's going to stay as part of their makeup as human beings. And in the case of Phillip, he might decide to be a violinist or he might not. We need to leave that door open for him, even though he does have a passion for the violin. But who knows, you know.
We all have been together as a team to help him learn to play the violin, to take him every step of the way from the Twinkle through Kabalevsky and beyond. He's matured a tremendous amount. He's always been a special kid right from the get-go. He has a story to tell. When you hear him, he puts his heart and soul into his playing, which I think is something that's quite unusual. It's a huge charge to be able to stand up and make music and move people through your music making, and I think that's really special.
The musical talent among Indiana's youth does not stop with Phillip. Learn how you can see a New World Youth Orchestra performance by visiting their website, nwyso.org.
You know, Erica, it's so impressive to see Phillip develop such an intense focus at a young age, but also the ability to manage that pressure.
I know, and just think what Phillip and all those other young musicians are going to go on to accomplish. It's pretty inspiring.
Yeah. Well, it is extraordinary how art can connect you to your present and your future, but for our next Indiana Artisan, it's also been a connection to her past.
I have always been fascinated with how things are made. As a child, I would go out into my dad's shop and take things apart, not necessarily put them together, but just, you know, figure out how things worked. The fact that I can take a bundle of sticks, basically, and turn it into a beautiful basket just blows my mind. And it's a part of my heritage, too. My great-grandfather immigrated from Russia in 1874 and made his way to the Dakota Territories. In that part of the country, the only wood to speak of was the willow bushes. And so, like any good pioneer, you make do with what you have. So he'd make the baskets, whether it was eggs or wash baskets, you know, anything that they needed containers for, he would make them. I never knew my great-grandfather, and so that is kind of my only connection to him. I have to think that he's like laughing in heaven over this whole, you know, basket weaving as art kind of thing. Most people don't know that a basket is one of the things that cannot be made by a machine. Any basket you see has been made by an actual person. Willow is one of the sturdiest materials you can use, and so willow baskets are a little bit more difficult to weave than, say, if you just used softer reeds. There's no nails, there's no glue. The tension of the willow keeps them in place till they dry, and then you just have a really good, sturdy, usable basket, and hopefully it's beautiful too. You can't make the same basket twice, and I love it. And so that's kind of what inspires me too, is being able to create many different styles. And I'm still learning new weaves. But then beyond that, there's just limitless possibilities with colors and size of willow and style. People are really astounded about that. I get asked a lot about, do you dye your willows? And I say, no, that's all natural. I grow 15 different varieties of willow in my yard, but there's over 300 kinds of willow. Willows are deciduous, so the leaves will drop off, the stems will go dormant. You can see what colors they're going to be. I will cut them all off right at the ground. Then, as I plan baskets in my head, I will go down and count out the number that I need and bundle that all up into one bundle, put them in a soaker for about a week, and then take them out and weave them, and hopefully it'll be something like what was in my head, or maybe it'll turn out to be better, because sometimes the willow does what it wants to do, and the willow's always right. There's a very personal part of you in each piece. You create it out of your own imagination. I like to draw from nature. I want a finished basket to look like nature as much as possible. It's just because that's where I connect with spirituality. That's why I like to weave outside. I just like to be out, like we're hearing the birds and being out in the fresh air. That's what feeds my soul, is knowing you're creating something and just loving it to the point where you're relaxed and happy about it. There's a lot of basket weavers, but not very many with the tradition that I have. So that runs deep for me, to be able to have that connection with the family, the tradition. I just think it's wonderful to have something this is one of a kind. This is the only thing like this anywhere.
Find breathtaking examples of Viki's newest baskets at her Facebook page, Confluence of Willows. And of course, find other talented artisans in your own backyard at indianaartisan.org. Erica, I love seeing how Viki draws from nature in the creation of her baskets, but also I was impressed and really surprised by the diversity of colors that willows come in.
Yeah, Viki was saying that depending on the weather, the willows can really, change color, which adds a whole new dimension to the work that she does. Well, Indiana's incredible natural wonders have inspired Hoosiers for centuries, and it's thanks to the foresight from some of those early naturalists that the wonders are there to explore.
Turkey Run is a very unique state park in northern Indiana. It's these cool shady glens, it's old growth trees, it's these wonderful eastern hemlock trees gracing cliff sides overlooking beautiful creeks and valleys. And it looks this way because of something that happened a mere 12,000 years ago. That was the end of the time of the last glacier in this part of the state. And when that glacier melted, that stuff that was inside the glacier is now roaring out of the glacier in these torrents of meltwater, running through the cracks in crevices in this Mansfield sandstone and carving out the familiar trail system that we know today. And a man named Salmon Lusk back in 1821 came through here as a scout for William Henry Harrison, trying to find safe passage for the troops from Terre Haute up to the Battle of Tippecanoe. So then when he resigned his commission from the Army, he was paid with a land grant, as many officers were in those days. And then in 1823 came here and bought the first 288 acres of what later became Turkey Run State Park. And we're very lucky because this man was really an early conservationist. It's because of them that we still have old growth trees, and it's because of them this is a park. When he died, the timber buyers of Indiana were coming in force. They wanted to buy Turkey Run and cut down all the trees. A committee headed by Richard Lieber, a commission actually, who was looking into establishing a system of state parks in Indiana. So Richard Lieber came here to see Turkey Run and of course, fell in love with the place, had to have it. And so he initiated a campaign to raise the funds and to get the people of Indiana excited about saving Turkey Run for themselves. These state parks were established not just to conserve land, but to provide a place for people to come to get away from all the struggles and stresses in their lives and to just soak up nature, relax, and pull some peace into themselves. So we have a lot of special events coming up at Turkey Run. The first weekend in May is our Welcome Back weekend on all of our state properties. You can participate in hikes and workshops and all kinds of make and take activities to kind of get you back out into nature and ready for the summer. And so I would encourage anyone who can to come out and visit an Indiana State Park this year. It doesn't have to be Turkey Run. They are all special in their own unique ways, and it is a renewal place, someplace that you can come and feel better.
It's the perfect time of year to get out and explore this state treasure. Learn more at turkeyrunstatepark.com.
I am thrilled to welcome our next musical guest. He's an incredibly talented musician and the lead vocalist in one of my favorite bands, Diane Coffee. I'm happy to introduce Shaun Fleming.
I've been playing music since high school. My dad was a musician, and I always used to sing, and I came up in a musical household. So music has always been a part of my life. Right now, I play drums with Foxygen, and then I write and play with Diane Coffee, which is my project. The biggest challenge I ever faced as a musician was the hopelessness of starting. Just starting out as a new musician, especially in LA, I went several years where I thought that there was just no way that I could possibly break through. And the only way I was able to was to kind of just move out of Los Angeles. I moved to Boston for a while, made some friends and acquaintances and connections in Boston. I came back to LA and I hooked up with Rado and we moved to New York, and that's kind of how it all came together with me. So the project Diane Coffee came about when I moved to New York to live with Jonathan Rado, and we're in between tours with Foxygen. And I was completely alone, new surroundings, didn't know anyone there, and I got really sick, so I was held indoors, and I ended up just writing and recording for 2 weeks. And when I showed those recordings to a few people at Jaguar and the SC group, they thought it was something worth putting out. So they put out those recordings I did in those 2 weeks, and the rest, is, they say, is history. Releasing a record had always been my dream. And when it all happened super quickly, it did feel a bit flustering. It's been something I've been pushing for a long time, so when it finally happened, it didn't feel like something completely out of the blue. I was like, yes, it's finally happening. I did it. All that hard work paid off. And that's how it all came together with me. Never giving up, never giving in. If something doesn't work, try something else. What fuels my hunger as an artist to me is just my experiences in everyday life. The things that I go through, the connections that I make, an emotional hardship, or some beautiful happenings that I stumble upon. It's always been kind of hard for me to express myself other than through performance or songwriting. That's my outlet. Success to me is being able to put out my artwork. I mean, as long as I'm capable of putting it out, and if people want to listen, that's success to me. In the next 5 years, I'd love to see a more worldwide presence. I'd love to tour throughout Europe. I hope to put out several more albums. Hopefully still being able to play my music. Hopefully people still want to listen.
And now, the lead singer of Diane Coffee, Shaun Fleming.
Fled to the west. You give me love, but your love is undressed, and your body's ashamed. Weight of the game has easily pinned you as fast as you blame it. I know it's my life only. It's my life. You're my girl. Just wouldn't dare to change my words. Well, it's not that easy getting by. Oh, it's not that easy, you and I. So can you help me to feel the way we could again? All of my life, I'm your lover coming home. Gospel of witness, they hurry the news. Escape from Ventura, she's no good for you. But the old way's dying. What more have we got? Except in a postcard to make you happier. But all of my life, it's my life only. All of my life, I've been down at the thought of another man to be. Oh, it's not that easy getting by. Oh, it's not that easy, you and I. So can you help me to feel the way we could again? All of my life, I'm your lover coming on. To feel the way we could again. All of my life, I'm your lover.
Hear more of Shaun's musical talents on his band Diane Coffee's latest album, Everybody's a Good Dog. Get more information at dianecoffee.com.
Now, it's pretty rare to see Shaun perform on his own like that, so we were pretty lucky.
We really were, and you have to still see Diane Coffee live. It is a spectacular performance, and we might be able to see them back on the weekly special. They wanted to be in studio with Shaun, but they had committed to another local band, so it's an excuse to bring Diane Coffee back to the weekly special.
Oh yeah, definitely. Well, that's all the time that we've got for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us, and one more time before we go, Shaun Fleming.
Well, I cannot help you. I can give you what you want. With a great selection, everybody's trying to talk. Trying on the sides, I can give you 5 to think it through. If you don't buy it now, your friends will all be cooler than you. Will you buy what we say when we want you to pay? You pay. Will you buy what we say when we want you to pay? You pay. Yeah.
Production support for the weekly special is provided by IU School of Public Health Bloomington, addressing public health needs by preventing disease, promoting health, and improving quality of life across the state and around the world through research, teaching, and community engagement. The Al Cobain Recognition Endowment Fund, established by friends and family of Al Cobain to support jazz initiatives on WTIU and WFIU. And WTIU members, thank you.